All right, y'all, let's pray in. All right. Who got their hallelujah? You got your equivalency on hallelujah. All minds clear? Deuteronomy chapter 6 at verse 4. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael.
Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Yahuwah Achan.
Yahuwah Achan.
Exodus or Shemot chapter 20 at verse 3. We will have no other mighty ones.
We will have no other mighty ones
against the Most High.
Against the Most High.
We will not make any carved image.
We will not make any carved image.
Or any likeness.
Or any likeness.
Of that which is in Shamayim above.
Of that which is in Shamayim above.
Or which is in the earth beneath.
Or which is in the earth beneath.
Or which is in the waters under the earth.
Or which is in the waters under the earth.
We will not bow down to them.
We will not bow down to them.
Nor serve them.
Nor serve them.
Yahuwah is a jealous El. Visiting the wickedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation of those that hate him, but showing kindness to thousands of those who love him and keep his commandments. We would not bring the name of Yahuwah in vain, for Yahuwah will not leave us unpunished. Who brings his name in vain. We will remember the Shabbat day. To keep it Kodesh. 6 days we will labor. And do all our work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat. Of Yahuwah. For in 6 days Yahuwah made Shamayim and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. And the rest of the seventh day. Therefore Yahuwah Barak the Shabbat day. We will respect our fathers and our mothers, so that our days are long upon the earth. We will not murder. We will not commit adultery. We will not steal. We will not bear false witness against our neighbor. We will not covet anything that is our neighbor. Father, y'all, we give thanks to you on this day for you yourself and for your son, Father, for allowing us to come together on your set apart day, on your Shabbat, to keep it Kodesh, Father. We ask, Father, on this day that you peer into the hearts and the minds of your people, Father. Any illnesses that we're dealing with, any heartache that we're dealing with, Father, we ask that you please send your Ruach, your comforter down, Father, to comfort us in these times, Father, to heal us of our sickness, Father. We ask if there's anybody that's out on the streets right now, Father, without shelter and the cold, Father, we ask that you please house them, Father. We ask if there's anybody out here without food, Father, that you please give them food to eat, Father. All these things we pray, Father, if it be your will, Father. We ask that the lesson that goes forth today, Father, that you open the minds and the ears of your people, Father, that we may be able to receive it as you will want us to receive it, Father. That your Ruach come down, Father, and be in the presence with us today, Father, and we may get understanding. All these things we pray and we give thanks. Bashem, Yahuwah, Wabankah, Yahushua, Hamashiach, Ruach HaKodesh. So be it. So be it. That's so kind. Bodies. Shit. Shout about somebody. So I knew how young the king. Right. I salute.
All right, shalom, shalom. So the lesson is the holy and the profane, the difference, or the clean and unclean, or holy and common. So, do anybody think that it's all right to make something that's common with something that's unclean, clean? Do we think that it's okay to make something that's unclean, to make it clean, or something that's that's clean and make it unclean?
Say we think it's okay? No, it's not.
So, if the Most High would have ordained this water clean, right? And somebody take it and say, and use it and say that it's not clean, would that be all right?
But they use it in an unclean way.
So we need to know the difference between the holy and the profane, the clean, the unclean, and what is common, right? So we're going to see some instances. So let me ask y'all, if I were to take a pork chop, which is unclean, right? And I'll take a steak, which is clean, right? Mm-hmm. If they were to touch each other, would the steak make the pork chop clean, or would the pork chop make the steak unclean?
Pork chop make the steak unclean.
So, in other words, you can transfer uncleanness to something that's righteous, but you can't transfer something that's righteous and make it the other way, right? Right?
Some people
Rare thing. Rare thing. So, if you were to say, I'm a righteous person, but you kept going to a club, would you change some people in there, or would they change you?
Only the Ruach HaKodesh change. If you use the vessel, it depends.
So when you say, say for instance, somebody say, man, I only go to Hot Tamales because they got them best wings in there. Right? That's the only reason that I go.
Lamb chop. Dope.
Yeah. I don't go for nothing else. I don't care about the women dancing around me or nothing. I just want these wings. I just want the wings, man. Well, why don't you just get them? Somebody get them and carry them out. They don't taste right when you don't eat them in there. They different. Nah. Let's get Haggai. Let's go to Haggai. No, we don't touch Haggai too much. Right. Chapter 2, pick it up at verse 10.
Haggai chapter 2 at verse 10. in the 4th and 20th day of the month, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of Yahuwah by Haggai the prophet, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, ask now the priest.
Ask who?
Ask now the priest.
Ask now the priest. What was the priest's job to do? What was he supposed to teach us? The law, right? Teach us what's supposed to be holy and profane. The difference between them. Read on.
Ask now the priest concerning the law, saying, if one bear kodesh flesh in the skirt of his garment, and with his skirt do touch bread or pottage or wine or oil or any meat, shall it be kodesh? And the priest answered and said, no.
No. Read on.
Then said Haggai, if one that is unclean by a dead body touch any of these, shall it be unclean? And the priest answered and said, it shall be unclean.
It shall be unclean. So, in other words, when the righteous go amongst the unclean, the righteousness don't get on them. The uncleanness comes to you. Get 2 Corinthians 16.
First?
Verse.
First.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians. No, I think it's second. Second Corinthians chapter 6. Verse 16.
2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 16. In what agreement hath the temple of Elohim with idols?
What agreement do the clean and the unclean have? Read.
For you are the temple of the living Elohim. As Elohim have said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people.
Go ahead.
Wherefore come out from among them.
Do what?
Come out from among them.
He says, wherefore come out from among them. So we'll notice it's a big unity movement going on. Right? And to the heart, it sounds like a good thing. So a sister posted one of them videos, right, where they got these two fags, and the one got on his knee to ask the other one to marry him. So one of the comments in the video was, well, I can put all that stuff aside. We just need to come together as people, right? Anybody in here with uniting with some homosexuals?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Because they would be considered what? Unclean. So if you were to lay with your wife on Friday night, what would you be? So if they were to come in here and touch you, what are you? Unclean. So if you was around these people, you have taken on a uncleanness. See how it works? Read.
And what agreement hath the temple of Elohim with idols? For you are the temple of the living Elohim. As Elohim has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people.
But there's a stipulation with it. Read.
Wherefore, come out from among them, and be you separate.
Be what?
Be you separate.
Be separate. Not join in. Be separate. So this is why I was saying this whole thing about being set apart from the set apart. Because a lot of people that claim to be set apart, they're really not. They're really not. So a lot of people think if I put on a garment, I'm holy. I'm set apart. But they forgot the scribes and Pharisees had on the most beautiful garments. But they was what inside? Rotten. Like a sepulcher full of dead men's bones. Beautiful. They buried him in a Rolls Royce casket. But he dead. He bones. He stink. Read.
Wherefore, come out from among them, and be you separate, saith Yahuwah, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
He said, don't touch the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So let's reverse this. Wherefore, don't separate. Right? Touch the unclean thing. And he what? And I won't receive you. Kind of simple, right? So if you touch the unclean thing and you don't separate, I won't receive you. Verse 18.
And will be a father unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, saith Yahuwah Almighty.
Now we're going to get into some of these stories and see. We ask some questions as we're going. Let's go to Joshua chapter 7. Y'all know the story of Achan or Achan? Joshua chapter 7. Any of y'all think that y'all can be deceived and touch the unclean thing, or y'all anybody too advanced for that?
Nobody was advanced for that.
Hey, you keep your head in this book. You hear me?
Joshua chapter 7, pick it up at verse 19.
Joshua chapter 7 at verse 19. And Joshua said unto Achan, my son, give, I pray you, esteem Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, and make confession unto him. And tell me now what you have done. Hide it not from me.
He said, tell me now what you have done. Don't hide it from me. Go ahead.
And Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, and thus have I done.
I did this, that, and the third. Go ahead.
When I saw the spoils, a goodly Babylonish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them.
I did what?
I coveted them.
I coveted them. What do the law say about this coveting? You shall not do it, right? Go ahead.
And took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth, in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it.
And the silver under it. So what did Achan just do?
Oh,
He stole something, right? Stole, right? Covered it. Or he just did both of these things. He stole something, he covered it. Both against the law. Now, Achan got his whole family killed in this act. Why? Why did his whole family die? Because of this act.
They all knew about it.
You got a book for that?
The gold is supposed to be for the Most High, right? The offering the temple. He told him not to do it.
Absolutely. So, what's the penalty for stealing? What's the penalty for stealing? Because he did steal, right? Death is? Let's get Exodus 22. Yeah, pick it up at verse 1.
Exodus or Shemot chapter 22 at verse 1. If a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox.
So this is what's supposed to happen. If you get caught stealing, you gotta increase it, right? Go ahead.
And 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. If the sun has risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him. For he shall make full restitution. If he have nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft.
Go ahead.
If the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, whether it be ox or donkey or sheep, he shall restore double.
He shall do what?
Restore double.
He shall restore double. So in here he's letting you know it's not death. Death is, for stealing, it's not a death penalty. It's supposed to be, you got to restore it. But for some reason right here, Achan don't get this. He get his whole family whacked. Whole family get killed due to this, but not death. Let's go back to Joshua 7:22. Joshua chapter 7, verse 22.
Joshua chapter 7 at verse 22. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran unto the tent. And behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them unto Joshua, and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before Yahuwah. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his donkeys, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them unto the valley of Achan. And Joshua said, why have you troubled us? Yahuwah shall trouble you this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and they burned them with fire, after they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So Yahuwah turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achan unto this day.
So this act that he just did was so severe that Achan got his whole family killed, all the sheep, the donkey, all his possessions, everything had to go. Who was the witnesses? According to the law, he wasn't witness to it.
Oh, they wasn't witness to it.
According to the law, let everything be established by 2 to 3 witnesses. Who was the witnesses to see this? Remember, Joshua asked them, tell me what you did.
He witnessed on himself.
He confessed. The heavens and the earth. The heavens and the earth. He got you every way you turn. He says, I call heaven and earth this day to witness against you. He always gonna be covered in every act that he do. Because somebody will take this and say, see, he ain't right, man. Ain't nobody see that. Yeah, he got you. He got you on every way you turn.
He disobeyed his direct commandment. That was a direct commandment. Don't take nothing. The silver, that's mine.
So let's get on Joshua chapter 6, verse 17.
Joshua chapter 6 and verse 17. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to Yahuwah. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And you, in any wise, keep yourself from the accursed thing.
From what thing?
From the accursed thing.
Go ahead.
Lest you make yourselves accursed. When you take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it.
So right here, they're using this word accursed. It says, and the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to Yahuwah. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, and she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise keep yourselves from what? The accursed thing, right? Least you make yourself accursed. But let's find out what this really talking about. Coming back, get Leviticus chapter 27, verse 28. Leviticus can be translated as this right there. Leviticus chapter 27, verse 28.
Leviticus chapter 27 and verse 28. Notwithstanding, no devoted thing.
No what thing?
No devoted thing.
No devoted thing. Go ahead.
That a man shall devote unto Yahuwah of all that he hath, both of man and beast, of the field of his possession, shall be sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing is most kodesh.
Is what?
Most kodesh.
It is most kodesh. Read.
Unto Yahuwah.
Unto Yahuwah. So when it says that notwithstanding no devoted thing, let's look that word up. It's from the H2764. And it is Karen, a thing devoted or dedicated. Right? So let's go back to the Joshua. Pick it up at verse 17 again.
Joshua chapter 6 and verse 17. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein.
Translated right there. Go ahead.
To Yahuwah. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And you, in any wise, keep yourself from the accursed thing.
From what thing?
The accursed thing.
From the accursed thing. Right here, that's the same word that we just went into. From Leviticus 27:28. It's not a cursed thing, but a devoted thing, a holy thing. So Achan just stole something that was what? Kodesh, something that was set apart, that he wasn't supposed to mess with. He took it and made it something common. And he stole directly from the Most High. This is why the punishment is so severe on him.
And plus, the Most High just gave him what would happen.
Exactly. So he stole something that was quote unquote Kodesh. He just made the holy profane. He just made the clean unclean. It's a severe penalty for doing this. So this is how that actually should be translated right there. He stole the set apart thing. Joshua 6, pick it up at verse 18 again.
That's 18, Joshua.
Yep.
It says, and you in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make yourselves accursed. When you take of the accursed thing and make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it.
Go ahead.
But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto Yahuwah.
They're what?
Consecrated unto Yahuwah.
They're consecrated. That's mine. All of that stuff there, that's mine. So was he mad at him about the Babylonian garment? No, that was all right. I ain't mad at you about that. But that other stuff, that's my set apart stuff. And you took it. And you was going to be in here drinking stuff out of it like it was common.
Put it underneath your tent. Dirtied it up and everything.
Exactly. Got to know the difference between the clean and the unclean, the holy and the profane. Read.
They shall come into the treasury of Yahuwah. So the people shouted when the priests blew the trumpets, and it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city.
They did what?
Took the city.
The city is now accursed. Go ahead.
And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, ox and sheep, and donkey with the edge of the sword. But Joshua said unto the two men,
Verse what?
Verse 22.
Go ahead.
But Joshua said unto the two men that had spied out the country, go into the harlot's house and bring out thence the woman and all that she had, as you swear unto her.
Jump down to verse. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab and her father and her mother and her brethren and all that she had, and they brought out all her kindred and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire.
They did what?
Burnt the city with fire.
Burnt the city with fire. Read.
And all that was therein, only the silver and the gold, and the vessels of brass and of iron, they put into the treasury of the house of Yahuwah.
So again, his sin is he stole from the Most High. He made that which was holy profane. He made that which was clean unclean. This is what he did. This is why this sin is so severe. Caused his whole family to die behind this thing. So remember, he took the Babylonian garment too, right? Give me Joshua chapter 8. Pick it up at verse 1.
Joshua chapter 8 at verse 1. And Yahuwah said unto Joshua, fear not, neither be you dismayed. Take all the people of war with you, and arise and go up to Ai. See, I have given into your hand the king of Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. And you shall do to Ai and her king as you did unto Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof shall you take for a prey unto yourselves. Lay you an ambush for the city behind it.
So they're letting you know the rest of the stuff, you can get it. You can take that stuff. I ain't gonna get at you about that. But them vessels, all of that stuff that I told you directly not to mess with, don't mess with it. So what do the priests supposed to do again? Teach us what? His law, right? Let's get Exodus chapter 28, verse 36. We're going to get to some more questions in a minute. Exodus chapter 28, verse 36.
Exodus chapter 28 at verse 36. And you shall make a plate of pure gold, engrave upon it, like the engravings of a signet, Kodesh to Yahuwah.
So he says, you shall make a plate of pure gold. What if I say, man, I'm going to make mine of silver? What if he told him directly, he said, make a plate of pure gold. But what if you say, well, I want to use my gold for something else. And you say, I'm going to put it on silver and I'll put it on it. What do you think will happen? Something severe, right? Because his direct order is to do what? Make it of pure gold. Go ahead.
And you shall put it on blue lace.
What if I say, I'm going to put red lace on it? Severe punishment. He mean exactly what he means. Go ahead.
That it may be upon the mitre. Upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be. It shall be upon Aharon's forehead. That Aharon may bear the iniquity of the Kodesh things, which the children of Israel shall hallow in their Kodesh gifts. And it shall be always upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before Yahuwah. And you shall embroider the coat of fine linen, and you shall make the mitre of fine linen, and you shall make the girdle of needlework.
So right here, he told Aaron, when they make this mitre, to put this plate on the front of the mitre, which is having the name in your forehead. Think about that. They got a plate with the Most High's name on their forehead. Is it something in the rest of the book about having somebody's name or something written on you somewhere? Another lesson, but it's on a mitre or a turban. So the priest was supposed to teach holiness or kodeshness, set apartness, right? Let's get Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 23. Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 23.
Ezekiel chapter 44 verse 23. And they, the priests, shall teach my people the difference between the Kodesh and profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean.
Read that one more time.
And they shall teach my people the difference between the Kodesh and the profane.
Who's the they here? The priest, right? So this was their job, to teach the people. Read that again.
And they shall teach my people the difference between the Kodesh.
The difference between the Kodesh and what else?
And profane. And cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean.
So this was the priest's job, to teach the difference between the holy and the profane, the clean and the unclean. Let's see. Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 26.
Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse 26. Her priests have violated my law.
They did what?
Violated my law.
I thought the priest was supposed to teach the difference between the holy and the profane. They're supposed to teach you the law. But he said the priest did what?
Have violated my law.
The priest violated my law. The very people that's supposed to teach you the difference. Read.
And have profaned my Kodesh things.
They profane my Kodesh things. What's some of his Kodesh things? What did Achan steal?
Your gold, silver.
He stole that stuff. He said they put no difference, and they have profaned my Kodesh things. Read.
They have put no difference between the Kodesh and profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbath.
Hid it from what?
From my Sabbath.
Hid it from my Sabbaths. Keep this in mind from later on. Keep this in mind for later on. Because he tied the Sabbath into this. and have profaned my Sabbaths, and I am profane among them. So the priest who is supposed to be teaching Kodesh is supposed to be teaching you to be set apart. They actually out here profaning it. I wonder if somebody today doing the same thing. Nothing new under the sun. Right? Nothing new under the sun. So let's get Exodus chapter 30, verse 7.
Exodus or Shemot chapter 30 at verse 7. And Aharon shall burn thereon sweet incense.
Do what?
And Aharon shall burn thereon sweet incense.
What kind of incense?
Sweet incense.
Go ahead.
Every morning. When he dressed the lamps, he shall burn incense upon it. And when Aharon lighteth the lamps at evening, he shall burn incense upon it. A perpetual incense before Yahuwah throughout your generations. You shall offer no strange incense thereon.
He said what?
Offer no strange incense thereon.
You shall offer no strange incense. About the strange fire, maybe like a month or so ago. So this gonna further what she asked about. Verse 9.
You shall offer no strange incense thereon, nor burnt sacrifice, nor meat offering, neither shall you pour drink offering thereon.
So what if you come along and offer strange incense?
In the temple, were they here? Or you just saying?
Yeah, in the temple. If you come and he tell you not to offer strange incense, let's see. Jump down to verse 34.
Verse 34. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, take unto you sweet spices. How you say that? Sanctity on and onycha, and galbana. Got that one right. These sweet spices with pure frankincense, of each shall there be a like weight.
So take these 4 things right here, equal weight, all of them, mix them together. Go ahead.
And you shall make it perfume, a confection after the art of the apothecary, tempered together and pure in Kodesh.
Pure in what?
Kodesh.
Or unclean.
Kodesh.
Profane.
Kodesh.
Go ahead.
And you shall beat some of it very small, and put of it before the testimony in the tabernacle of the congregation, where I will meet with you. It shall be unto you most Kodesh.
It shall be what?
Most Kodesh.
Most profane.
Most Kodesh.
Most Kodesh. This is Leviticus, right? Or is this Leviticus we in? No, we in Exodus. But he's talking to the priest, the people that's supposed to teach us the difference between the clean and the unclean, the holy and the profane. Right? Read on.
And as for the perfume which you shall make, you shall not make to yourselves according to the composition thereof. It shall be unto you Kodesh for Yahuwah.
So what if the priest say, man, I really like the smell in this temple. And he take these 4 joints and he said, I'm going to mix them up at home and I'm going to beat them up at home. And I'm going to do it at the house. What happened to him?
Hello.
Read verse 38.
Whosoever shall make like unto that, to smell thereto, shall even be cut off from his people.
So what if you come in and say, I don't got enough of that galbanum. I'm gonna just mix some mirth in there. Incense is incense, right?
Nope, not according to what he said.
Ain't it the same? It's just the incense.
Some of that naked spices.
Right, some of the joints they got at the grocery store with the Indian on it. It's an incense. Ain't incense? They all the same, right? So we're to see what incense represent. Why you couldn't put strange incense on there. Psalms 141.
Psalm 141.
Pick it up at verse 1.
Verse 1. Yahuwah, I cry unto you. Make haste unto me. Give ear unto my voice when I cry unto you. Let my prayer be set forth before you as incense.
As what?
As incense.
Go ahead.
And the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice.
As what?
As the evening sacrifice.
So he says, let my prayers be set forth before you as incense, and lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. So we see that these incense got something to do with prayers, right? Something to do with prayers. Revelation chapter 8, verse 3.
Revelation chapter 8. At verse 3. And another Malak came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense.
Much what?
Much incense.
Go ahead.
That he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne.
Which was what?
Before the throne.
Which was before the throne. So the prayers and the incense, they go hand in hand. They're not the same, but they are with each other. And it's got to be specific as to what he said. If it's not specific, it is no longer Kodesh or holy or set apart. Luke chapter 1, verse 8.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 8. And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Elohim in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of Yahuwah. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without.
They did what?
Were praying without.
Go ahead.
At the time of incense.
So they go hand in hand. But what do the incense represent? What do they do for the prayers?
Take the odor away from the minister.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, no, yeah. I do that in the first place, you know.
I know it's right through. You like the smell of it. Maybe take the odor away from all of the
Our prayers is filthy because they're coming from us and we're unclean before Mashiach passed, right? Let's see, Isaiah chapter 6, verse 5.
You were master, I had
He was on that. Isaiah chapter 6 at verse 5.
Matter of fact, pick it up at verse 4.
At verse 4. And the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips.
Of what?
Of unclean lips.
Unclean lips. This is Isaiah speaking. This is the prophet. He's saying, I'm a man of unclean lips. I don't even want to talk before you. So if your prayers is going up without this to cleanse them, they filthy to them. That'll mean you're gonna fall up under that what's that in Proverbs?
28:9.
Absolutely, you're gonna fall up under that. That your prayers is an abomination if they're not clean. So this is why the prayers gotta go up with this specific odor, this specific incense. You can't switch it around and make something else with it. Because if you do, like Mog say, chitty chitty bang bang. The clean and the unclean. Read that verse again, verse 5.
Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips.
I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. All of their prayers is an abomination. Without this altar to cleanse it with the incense going up. Finish that out.
But my eyes have seen the King, Yahuwah of hosts.
So this is why you can't offer no strange incense. Now we got to address the fire. Strange fire. Let's get Leviticus chapter 9. Leviticus chapter 9. Remember, it is a great sin if you make something that's kodesh unclean, and if you make that which is kodesh common. So anything that he says is set apart, and if you make it common, it is a great sin. Remember that. I told y'all to remember something about that Ezekiel 44, right? He mentioned it with something else. Right? Keep that in mind. Leviticus chapter 9, verse 23.
Leviticus chapter 9 at verse 23. And Moshe and Aharon went into the tabernacle of the congregation and came out and increased the people. And the esteem of Yahuwah appeared unto all the people. And there came a fire out from before Yahuwah.
Where did fire come from?
Out from before Yahuwah.
The fire came out from before Yahuwah. Go ahead.
And consumed upon the altar the burnt offering and the fat, which when all the people saw, they shouted and fell on their faces.
So, how do you know when the Most High accept the offering, the sacrifice? What happens? Fire come down. Where did the fire come from? Because he himself is what? He says, I'm a what kind of fire? I'm a consuming fire. Keep that in mind. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 10. Leviticus chapter 10, verse 1.
Leviticus chapter 10 at verse 1. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aharon, took either of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire.
What kind of fire?
Strange fire.
Strange fire. Strange fire. Go ahead.
Before Yahuwah, which he commanded them not.
He did what?
He commanded them not.
So it says, Nadab and Abihu went into the temple with the fire and the censer, and they offered strange fire before Yahuwah, which he commanded them not. Go ahead.
And there went out fire from Yahuwah.
Where did fire come from now?
From Yahuwah.
From Yahuwah. Go ahead.
And devoured them.
Did what to them?
Devoured them.
Why did the fire devour them? He offered strange fire. Ain't fire fire? So take a lighter and light it. It's different kinds of fire.
Regular fire can set apart fire.
All depending on the use.
I was about to say you got fire with gas, fire with
What you call that fire that the Most High sent down?
his fire.
That's a set apart fire.
Oh, that's fire.
That's that fire that's
It's a difference.
bone.
It's a difference. But the priest supposed to know this, right? They the priest. So why would you come in here and bring strange fire? Why would you do that? Why would you come in here and bring strange fire? We're going to find out. Let's get Romans 8 and 26. Romans 8. Yeah, we're coming back there.
Romans chapter 8, verse 26. Likewise, the Ruach also help our infirmities. For we know not what we should pray for as we ought. But the Ruach itself make intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered.
So them prayers go with them incense and all of this to guide us and what to pray for the whole nine. Proverbs 28:9.
Proverbs chapter 28, verse 9.
Because if it ain't according to what he says, like we was talking about, read.
He that turn away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination.
Even your prayer is an abomination. Psalm 66 and 18.
Psalm 66 and verse 18. If I regard iniquity in my heart, Yahuwah will not hear me.
He what?
He will not hear me.
He says if you regard iniquity in your heart, in the heart, he won't hear you. Read.
But truly Elohim have heard me. He hath attended to the voice of my prayer. Increase be Elohim, which have not turned away my prayer, nor his mercy from me.
That's key to notice. Let's go back to Leviticus chapter 10, pick it up at verse 2 again. So we got to find out why did they come into the temple and offer strange fire. Not what we speculating on, but why, for real. Pick it up at verse 2.
Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 2. And there went out fire from Yahuwah and devoured them, and they died before Yahuwah. Then Moses said unto Aharon, this is it, that Yahuwah has spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them.
I will be sanctified. I am set apart. You can't come to me any kind of way. Go ahead.
I will be sanctified in them that come near me. And before all the people I will be esteemed. And Aharon held his peace.
These is Aaron's sons, right?
Right.
That just died. Said Aaron held his peace. Exactly. Mosiah, they're my sons. Goodness. Go ahead.
And Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan and the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aharon, and said unto them, come near, here are your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp.
Take them where?
Take your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp.
Out of the camp. They not even considered Israel no more. They got to go. Not in the camp. You get them out for what they just did. But the average person would think, fire is fire. What's the difference? Go ahead.
So they went near and carried them in their coats out of the camp, as Moshe had said. And Moshe said unto Aharon and unto Eleazar and unto Ithamar, his sons, uncover not your heads, neither render your clothes, lest you die.
Oh, so he's telling them, don't even mourn for him. Don't even be sad for him. Don't you take that? Don't you take that meet you off and go into crying? This is what he tells them. Because if you do it, you gonna die. Because if you go out and show them sympathy, you're gonna be showing that you condone what they just did. Right? You're gonna show these other people that you, oh man, most houses. Even though they know what to do, you need not to bring that strange fire in here. You can't say fire is fire. Well, I lit it with my Bic. No. You know better than this. You know better than this. Read that verse again.
And Moses said unto Aharon, and unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar, his sons, uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest you die.
Because that was a sign of us mourning when we used to tear our garments. You know what I'm saying? But he telling them, don't do it. I know this got to be so hard for Aaron. Go ahead.
Unless wrath come upon all the people.
If I do it, it's coming on everybody. Your sons knew you supposed to taught them not to come in here with no strange fire. But we got to find out why they came in with it in the first place. Read on. Why they made the holy profane and the clean unclean. Why did they do that? Go ahead.
But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahuwah hath kindled.
Go ahead.
You shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. For the anointing oil of Yahuwah is upon you. And they did according to the words of Moshe. And Yahuwah spake unto Aharon, saying, do not drink wine, nor strong drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation.
So, what do you think made them go into the temple and offer the strange fire? They was what? Drunk. It made them not be able to distinguish the holy, the unholy, or the profane, the clean and the unclean. Read that again.
And Yahuwah spake unto Aharon, saying, do not drink wine, nor strong drink, you know your sons, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. It shall be for a statute forever throughout your generations.
So he's letting us know the reason that they did it, because they came in there drunk. They came in the temple drunk. And when you get that buzz on you, hard to kind of distinguish, right? Every time before a great tragedy, every time after a great tragedy, what happened? The people was doing what? They was drinking. Almost every single time. We're going to find out. We're going to see. Read that verse, verse 10.
That you may put difference between the Kodesh and the unkodesh, between the unclean and the clean.
So that you can make the difference, so you can make the distinction between it. Because again, when you get drunk or get that buzz on, a lot of times what? All bets is off. Because your perception switches and changes, right?
That's like
Anybody who woke up in a strange place after drinking some of this stuff? Anybody woke up and say, where am I? Where am I? How did I get here? How did I get here? Wow. Get up and I'm finna let you. How am I on 90 miles? How did I get to 90 miles? Where did this happen? So we're gonna see. This messes up the perception for you to be able to distinguish between the holy and the profane. So even though you can know it, when this thing get on you, it make you forget it. Or you just don't care at that moment. Might think it had a little too much Bacardi. Nigga, I'm gonna run that light, boy. I don't care. This stuff changes you, right? A lot of people, it changes them. So this is why they brought strange fire in there. Exactly. This is the reason why Leviticus 11 even comes into play with the animals. Because now he says, I'm already mad at y'all. I'm going to just run the rest of the clean and unclean things down to you. So when we jump to Leviticus 11, that's how it came about. And now I got to show you the difference between the clean and unclean animals. No, exactly. He was actually mad, so now I'm going to just show you all the rest of this. But what happens if you make the Kodesh unclean? Let's see something. Let's get Daniel chapter 5. Chapter 5.
When you name them oils, does he just name the characteristics of the oil?
Absolutely not. We can find them same birds.
I thought about the oils, but he told them which oils to use. That's naming the characteristics of the oils.
Oh yeah. He was it can be a thick oil, kind of thick, and then you add a runny oil to it. He was yeah, that's all he was doing. Yeah, I got you right. It can see olive oil and another oil, they kind of similar. So yeah, you can mix them. Right. So, yeah, you can mix these.
They had the same viscosity.
Right, same molecular structure. They burn like this. Yeah, easy. Daniel chapter 5.
That's a quick.
5 and 1. Daniel chapter 5 and verse 1.
Daniel chapter 5 and verse 1. Belshazzar, the king, made a great feast.
He did what?
Made a great feast.
What's the people, right before tragedy always happen, what do the people be doing?
Eat, drink, drink.
Turn up, it was lit. Boy, we was lit up in there.
Which fire? Which fire did they lit?
It was y'all's fire.
I said it was a lituation.
Read that again.
Belshazzar, the king, made a great feast of his master.
I'm about to do it big, boy. Got 1,000 of them in here. Yeah, we just rented out the best hall ever. Go ahead.
And drank wine before the 1,000.
That boy up there, he got vanilla wine. It's the best.
You gotta plug
This ain't been stepped on by the Khazars. My Ak made this. Stepped on it with his own feet.
You gotta plug it down.
Set apart through inspired by Torah.com. Go there.
Baby feet.
Go ahead,
Belshazzar, while he tasted the wine,
he started feeling himself. Read.
commanded to bring the gold and the silver vessels.
What did Achan steal?
Gold and the silver.
Go ahead.
Which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple, which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives and his concubines might drink therein.
Oh, so you done took the holy vessels.
I get drunk and do that.
Got your little buzz on.
This wine is so good.
Man, go get them golden vessels, man.
Right.
Go get them vessels.
Hey, take them plastic cups and put them up. Get the good glass.
You can drink this off the solo cup. The cold joint.
They done got beside themselves. Have you lost your mind? I don't want it. That's Sabbath. Man, this ain't good enough. Go get them other vessels. Go get the most high stuff. Read.
Then they bought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of Elohim, which was at Jerusalem. And the king and his princes, his wives and his concubines drinking them.
They did what?
Drinking them.
Drinking them. You just took his Kodesh vessels and made them common and drank wine out of them. You and your thousands, because you feeling yourself. Read on.
They drank wine and praised the gods of gold.
You double did it. You double did it. You drank wine out of his stuff, made it common. Then you gave thanks to the false gods that's made with men's hands. Read on.
And of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand.
What happened?
In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand.
Oh, they sent fingers, like they sent you a message.
Right.
And wrote what? Oh, my bad.
What wrote the commandments?
Finger of God.
The what?
Finger of God.
Whose finger was it? So who writing this? That's him writing this. Go ahead. This is so serious that I got to come down for y'all on this one.
I know he ain't. I know he ain't just.
Go ahead.
In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlesticks upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote.
Oh, he saw it. He saw the hand.
They saw the hand, right?
Yeah, he looking at it.
Oh, wow.
He see the hand.
He think he that told you, he probably looked at the glass like, what's in this?
Hold that right quick. Get me Luke chapter 11, verse 20.
Lucas chapter 11 at verse 20. But if I, with the finger of Elohim, cast out devils, no doubt the kingdom of Elohim is come upon you.
So he is the one that's writing this. Deuteronomy 9 and 10.
Deuteronomy chapter 9 and verse 10. And Yahuwah delivered unto me 2 tables of stone written with the finger of Yahuwah.
Written what?
With the finger of Elohim.
So when it's serious, he do it himself. The rest of this, I'll let y'all write it. But these commandments, I'm going to do this myself. He came down to write this himself. for this. Let's go back to it. That Daniel.
Daniel chapter 5 and verse 5. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance was changed.
That boy sobered up quick. Oh, we got you know, when you drunk and the police get behind you. Wow, everything switched up quick. Was you really that drunk? Or was you acting? So with that boy countenance switched up quick. Verse 6.
Then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loose.
That boy joints came loose.
And his
go ahead.
And his knees smote one against another.
That boy knees knocking. Now he done realized like that. You know you.
Right.
You know you. Oh goodness. Go ahead.
The king cried aloud, "Bring the astrologers, the Chaldeans, the soothsayers." And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, "Whosoever shall read this writing, interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet,
and have get you the finest. Go ahead.
And have a chain of gold about his neck.
I'm gonna put you on a gold chain on you.
And shall be the third ruler in the kingdom."
So only me, my man, and you gonna be third in charge. If you can tell me what this means. Go ahead.
Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. Then was King Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his lords were astonished, were perplexed. Now the queen, by reason of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house, and the queen spake and said, "O king, live forever."
Do what?
Live forever.
She gassing him up. You the king, you gonna live forever. Let's see what she lying. Read.
Let not your thoughts trouble you, nor your countenance be changed.
Don't worry about that. Them little vessels ain't nothing. Go ahead.
There is a man in your kingdom, in whom is the ruach of the Kodesh gods, and in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom.
Who was Belteshazzar's father? Nebuchadnezzar. Remember, Nebuchadnezzar got beside himself, and he turned him like an animal, made him go outside, and nails grew like eagles and all of this stuff, right? Because he got beside himself. So Belteshazzar should have learned. He knew this anyway. Read on.
The king, I say, your father made a master of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and soothsayers. For as much as an excellent ruach and knowledgeable and understanding, interpreting of dreams, and showing of hard sentences, and dissolving of doubts, were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he'll show you the interpretation. Then was Daniel brought in before the king, and the king spake and said unto Daniel, "Are you that Daniel, which are of the children of the captivity of Judah, whom the king, my father, brought out of Judah? I have even heard of you, that the ruach of the gods in you, that the light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in you. And now the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought in before me, that they should read the writing and make known unto me the interpretation thereof. but they could not show the interpretation of the thing. And I have heard of you, that you can make interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now, if you can read the writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof, you shall be clothed with scarlet, and have a chain of gold about your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom.
So, the average Israelite right now would have said, what you can do for me, you're going to do what? You're going to give me scarlet, that means the finest? You're going to give me a gold chain, and I'm going to be third? Jumped on it, right?
Then Daniel answered and said before the king, let your gifts be to yourself.
But keep that stuff.
Give your rewards to another. Yet I'll read the writing unto the king and make known to him the interpretation.
Go ahead.
O you king, the Most High Elohim gave Nebuchadnezzar your father a kingdom and majesty and esteem and honor. For the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, languages trembled in fear before him, whom he would slew, and whom he kept alive, and whom he set up, and whom he would put down. But when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in the pride, he was deposed from his kingly throne, and they took his esteem from him. And he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beasts, and his dwelling was with the wild donkeys. They fed him with grass like oxen. His body was wet with the dew of Shamayim, till he knew that the Most High Elohim ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appoint over it whoever he will. And you, his son, O Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart.
You did what?
Have not humbled your heart.
You didn't humble your heart. Go ahead.
Though you know all of this.
You knew all of this stuff. So he knew better that not to drink out them vessels. He knew it. But that wine caused him to not be able to discern between the holy and the profane, the Kodesh and the common. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Hold up. No, we don't. First Peter chapter 5 and verse 8.
1 Peter chapter 5 at verse 8. Be sober.
Do what?
Be sober.
Be sober. Read.
Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
He said, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, as a roaring lion, seeks whom he may devour. So the minute that you get this stuff in you, you're susceptible to old boy getting at you. Let's see. Get me Genesis chapter 9, verse 20. He declares the end from the beginning.
Genesis or Bereshit chapter 9 at verse 20. And Noah began to be an husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine, and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent.
Now notice, this is after the flood, right? First thing Noah do, set him a garden up. Morning, get yourself drunk. Go ahead.
And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren without.
See, we ain't gonna get into this heavy, but this is a bold sin. Right? You just did something despicable, and you actually go and tell somebody about it. That's what we're witnessing right now. We got the boldest sin. Things that used to be hidden that people was doing, now they will film it so you can see it. I want you to know that I did it. Homos is out in public proposing to people on camera. We have the video of a pedophile who out in the open admit, I'm a pedophile. I like children. No more hiding behind the stuff. This is the bold sin. This is what Ham just did. Bold, I did it, and I'm going to tell y'all that I did it. Not hide it. That's what we're witnessing. Read on.
And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were backwards, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine and went and knew what his younger son had done unto him.
What's Noah's fault in this? He got drunk, right? That's his fault. This was before the flood. Let's get Genesis. I mean, this was after the flood right here. Genesis 19, verse 30.
Genesis chapter 19 and verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his two daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his two daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father.
What's Lot's fault in this whole situation? You got what? He got drunk. He got drunk. But according to the text, Lot don't have a clue that none of this took place. He don't even know what them took place. Exactly. Right? How y'all pregnant?
He mean Mags.
Right,
Like,
you have to ask that.
He just ain't ready down here.
this is this thing. Makes you not be able to distinguish. Go ahead.
And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in, and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay down.
He didn't even know it.
Where they get the wine from?
They probably had it with
They
him.
grabbed it before something more got destroyed and ran with the wine.
I let you know that wine
They had to go.
Go ahead.
And lay with her father, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go you in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father.
So it's showing us something with this stuff. It causes you not to be able to distinguish between the holy, the profane, the clean and the unclean. Because Lot don't even know that this took place. He out. He just woke up on 99 Mile Road and wondering where he at. How did I get here? But let's go. Luke chapter 17, verse 26.
That's why they said there wasn't no man. They around that for a minute. 17 and what?
Verse 26.
Luke 17 and 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the day of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Now we have Noah. Go ahead.
And the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought.
Same stuff, right? The eating and the drinking. Go ahead.
They sowed, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from Shamaim.
Same day. 2 Samuel chapter 13, verse 27.
Psalm 13,
Verse 27.
verse 27. 2 Samuel chapter 13, verse 27. But when Absalom pressed him, that he let Ammon and all the king's sons go with him. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, mark you now when Ammon's heart is merry with wine.
What?
Is merry with wine.
Merry with wine. Go ahead.
And when I say unto you, smite Ammon, then kill him. Fear not. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant. And the servants of Absalom did unto Ammon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man got him upon his mule and fled.
Now, think if Ammon wasn't drunk. Could this have went down? But you can see he knows something about Ammon. Watch him. When he get drunk, you can get him. He knew this about him. So again, this wine, when his heart is merry, over and over through scripture, we see that it's the culprit behind a lot of stuff. But how does this point to the end? How does this point us to the end?
Oh, you turning up?
No.
Oh, we had to go full of wine.
This is you out there, though, man. You can do that.
Hey, y'all, Paul, you let him sit over there.
We just think everybody was thinking.
Revelation chapter 11.
That boy cheap, man.
Revelation chapter 11. Pick it up at verse 10.
Revelation chapter 11 at verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because the two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth.
So they making merry at the end, rejoicing. Same thing they was doing in Sodom and Gomorrah. They was rejoicing. They was merry. They was enjoying themselves. Couldn't even distinguish that you just killed two righteous men.
Right.
You didn't know it because you was being merry. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 6. First Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9.
1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9. Know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards.
Nor who?
Nor drunkards.
Drunkard is listed with all of this stuff. Nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards. Go ahead.
Nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim.
Shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim. So it's mentioned with all of these things. But again, how does it tie directly to the end? Wine, meaning you won't be able to distinguish and tell the difference between different things. In Isaiah 29. It's got to be something, because the priest was commanded to teach the people the difference.
Isaiah chapter 29 at verse 8. It shall even be as when a hungry man dream, and behold, he eat, but he awake, and his soul is empty. Or as when a thirsty man dream, and behold, he drinketh, but he awake, and behold, he is faint, and his soul hath appetite. So shall the multitude of all the nations be that fight against Mount Zion. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry you out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
He said they are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. So it's another way to be drunk. The church brag about it all the time. We drunk in the spirit. They think that that's a good thing. It's not a good thing to be drunk in the spirit or to drunk in the ruach, because you can't distinguish between the holy and the profane. That's why they in the church jumping around acting like chickens with their head cut off. Don't even realize it. They brag about this all the time. There's a woman. Instead of you trying to get her drunk, she's trying to get you drunk. Revelation chapter 17. Pick it up at verse 4.
Revelation chapter 17 at verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand.
What she got in her hand?
A golden cup in her hand.
Golden cup in her hand. What the Most High vessels was made from? Go ahead.
Full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs.
So she drunk with the blood of the saints and the blood of the martyrs. She gonna try to get you drunk. The opposite. That's the thing that cats do, right? Try to, I can get the stuff, man. I can get her. But she trying to get you drunk. Let's get Revelation 18 and 1.
Revelation 18 and 1. And after these things, I saw another Malach come down from Shamaim, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his esteem. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul ruach, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Unclean again. Go ahead.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
All nations did what?
Have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
So it says nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath. This means this woman is trying to force you to be drunk. She's trying to force the wine on you. She's gonna make you do it, because you're not going to be able to distinguish between the holy and the profane when you're drunk, physically or spiritually. You won't be able to know the difference. Again, Every single time that you put this stuff in you, you're at risk of this taking place with you. That's why some of the commercials say, drink responsibly. Right? For real. Because it's the truth. Every single time you're at risk. So making something that's not holy, holy is a great sin, right? What did he say in Ezekiel 44 about that he mentioned with all of them things? I told y'all to remember. Shabbat. It's Shabbat, right? That's a set apart day, right? But when you make another day set apart, is that a light thing?
Nope.
Absolutely not. So if you were to take the 12 hours from last night and you were to add it to the Sabbath when he never blessed that part of the day, what would you be doing? What would you be making?
You
were making a common day Kodesh. You can't do that. All the people that do Sunday, you are doing it. All the people that do Friday, you are doing it. All the people that follow the lunar Shabbat, you are doing it. All the people that keep it from Friday, sundown, I know you're going to be mad, you are doing it. You have made that which he didn't set apart, you have set it apart. So a lot of people say, well, what's wrong with me if I say I'm going to keep the whole from there to there? You made that which is common set apart. You can't do that. It's a great sin. He's showing you all through the book not to do that. So all through, you won't be able to distinguish between the holy and the unclean, the righteous and the wicked. You won't be able to make the distinction. So this is what the whole world is doing, because nobody can't tell. So all these people are drunk, whether physically or spiritually. And when you get this, you won't be able to tell the difference between them. That's what they are blurring the lines to make you not be able to tell what's what. So a little boy got on my bus when the school year first started. He had all of the sides of his hair shaved off, and just the top was on, and he had it braided. And for like 2 weeks, I looked at the little boy because I couldn't tell whether it was I couldn't tell whether it was a super strong girl or a soft boy. I couldn't tell. So I would never say nothing to him. Finally, I found out it was a boy. So then I got him. I said, man, where my knife? I'm going to cut this thing off your head. I messed with him for about 5 days straight. I say, every time he got on, where my scissors? I'm going to cut that thing off your head. So finally he came back and say, bus driver, look, you can't cut it off because I cut it off. Mission accomplished. That's what I wanted you to do. Because you couldn't tell the difference between this boy. I looked, is that a boy or a girl? I cannot tell. Because he looked like a strong girl, or a soft boy. Couldn't tell. That's what everything is. It's all mixing everything up so you not to be able to distinguish and know. Exactly. It's a bunch of them that you can't tell the difference. And that's what the beast is planning on. Not being able to know and distinguish between what's righteous and unrighteous. So we got, again, just like we was talking about last week, I think we was talking about that Allah stuff, right? You made no difference between it. I can call on Allah. That's just why would you even do it? It's just another word for God. There you're doing it. You make no difference. That's what's going on. And the average person, as you can go all the way back to the prophets, to the beginning, you can see that they made no difference between the clean and the unclean, the holy and the profane. So with that, say shalom. Any questions?
Yep, I got one question.
Questions on the chat?
Comment. So we touch on that a lot thing. There's a rap artist out on that. Named Achan first. And he got a song called Plain Jane. And part of the chorus, he's saying something about Allah. So the kids hear
You
it.
say what?
Alhamdulillah Allah. I looked it up and I guess it's saying basically praise God.
It mean,
I'm telling the kids, y'all can't, you're not listening to
I
this.
remember they used to say it.
So they tricking the kids through music to sing along with this stuff and praise a false God. You know what I
Because
mean?
now you won't be able to distinguish.
Jay-Z said it too in one of his songs.
Absolutely.
They sing along. I mean, it's got like a beat. It's got a beat to it. That's catchy.
Well,
So they sing along. Don't even know what they saying.
That's exactly what it means.
Yep.
That's exactly what it means. Because I remember used to ask somebody like, "How you doing?" and they'd be like, what they say? Whatever I heard they say, I'm doing good, and they'd be like, "Alhamdulillah."
Yep.
Like, that's exactly how they say it.
And that's what he's doing through hip hop. Singing that. All of them, exactly. All of them are doing it. And you won't be able to distinguish between what's what. You'll think it's all right to use that. It's no good.
So you got
Most of them have ideas.
The,
Just going along.
the day and the hours for the Shabbat. The day is quote unquote Saturday from sun up to sundown. Should we pray with the incense? We can't recreate those incense.
Absolutely not.
Don't try to recreate those incense.
Yes.
Not to do it.
Don't do it. Don't even
Don't
go
do
back and read
Tell
it.
you flat out, if you make this, or anybody make it for themselves,
Yeah,
you're gonna get cut off.
don't do that.
Yep.
What else? That was it. Any other questions in the chat?
Go ahead, Ron.
I see. It said, one second. It said, can you explain being drunk without drinking? I guess it cut off. The stream cut off.
Again, let's go to that Isaiah 29.
Isaiah chapter 29
and 9.
and verse 9. State yourselves and wonder. Cry you out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
So let's say we know that they drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. Read.
For Yahuwah hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
And when you get drunk most of the time, you fall into deep sleep. But this is the spiritual one. So this is why we say, I'm awake. This is why we use these phrases like, I'm awake. Man, we got to go wake these people up. Read.
Spirit of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers have he covered.
Wow, I wonder what's this Satan that covered these people. Like Job talked about. Oh, that's Yah covered. Must be Yah that covered him in Job too. But so it's a spiritual thing right here of not being drunk with wine. It's being drunk with some false doctrines and following man's ways over what Yah has told us.
Is there any sins we can't repent from?
Well, the one of profane. Yeah. Let's go there.
We got
Let's get Mark chapter 3, verse 28.
Mark chapter 3 at verse 28. Truly I say unto you, all sins shall be forgiven unto the sons of men, and blasphemies wherewith soever they shall blaspheme. But he that shall blaspheme against the Ruach HaKodesh hath never forgiveness, eternal damnation.
So you blaspheme the Ruach HaKodesh. This is the one that's unforgivable right here, according to what we just read. But I'm gonna look into this more because there's some. I saw some stuff about this a while back. I ain't never followed through on it. So ask this question again.
Bro.
I just want to hit on Proverbs 23, 30 to 35. Talk about that wine.
Flyer Storm, we're gonna get to your question in like 2 seconds. Proverbs 23.
30 to 35.
Proverbs 23, verse 30. They that tarry long at the wine, that they that go to seek mixed wine, look not upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth color in the cup, when it move itself aright. At the last it biteth like a serpent, and sting like an adder. Your eyes shall behold strange women, and your heart shall utter perverse things. Yea, you shall be as he that lie down in the midst of the sea,
That's what we're in the hot tamales.
or as he
Women.
that lieth upon the top of the mast. They have stricken me. They have stricken me, shall you say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again. I must drink it again.
I ain't never drinking no more. Next week, right back at it.
Say when I was sick, I ain't know it. When they beat me up, I ain't feel it. So I'm keep on drinking. All right, this next question on here look like the last one. It says, if exist is Hawa in Hebrew, why do we call him Yahuwah and not Yahweh? Want to roll the camera?
Yeah.
What?
You got it?
Wallah.
One moment.
Basically, to answer that question, I know what you're saying. So, Hawa in Hebrew is a verb, right? And so it takes some basic understanding of the language a little bit. So, just to make it simple, just like shalom, right? Shalom is a verb in Hebrew. It means to be peaceful, right? But when we greet each other shalom, because shalom is a noun that's derived from the verb, meaning peace unto you, right? So that's how it is across the board with verbs, right? The simplest form of the verb, they usually have A-class vowels in them. Shalom, Hawa, pick one. They all the same across the board. But as you start adding prefixes and suffixes to two words, it changes a bit. The pronunciation changes a bit, right? So it's the same thing in English to a certain extent. What they call them, root words are pronounced a certain way, but when you start adding prefixes and suffixes to different words, the pronunciation of the word changes a bit. So I mean, that's as simple as I can really put it when you learn the language. That's the moral of the story.
That's good.
Any other questions? I think that might have been the last one. Yep, that's the last one. All right.
Like, one more thing, right? In order to be a priest, you had to be
Consecrated.
somebody, right? You had to be from somebody, right? So what happens when I come out and say, I'm priest, somebody?
You gotta prove it.
But what have you just done?
Made something common.
You made something consecrated.
If you are not in fact a priest or in that lineage, you have made something common.
Exactly.
Called it flesh.
Because even when we came out of Babylon, after 70 years, they had to produce records to show that they was indeed from his seed.
That was 70 years.
So
they couldn't produce paperwork.
switch up and call yourself and say that you are a priest. You ain't from that line.
Of the highest order.
You just did it. I know people think that that's a light thing, but it's not. People died from doing this stuff in the book.
The scripture tell you flat out, whoa, whoa, unto those.
Exactly. So it's not a light thing to put yourself in this stead or to make yourself one of these people and come up with this. Just say you teach the word, man.
Call yourself a prophet.
Yeah. Especially when you come out and say, he told you this. He speak to the prophets and tell them what's going to happen.
So if you say he told you this, how did the Most High communicate with people? Through what? How else besides the book? He used to communicate. Now, after Mashiach passed, after he not passed, but after he rose, what do he use to communicate? The Ruach.
The Ruach.
The Ruach, right?
The Ruach.
So if you say he told you something that he didn't tell you,
Exactly.
That's even deep.
So this is why it's dangerous when you sit up and tell somebody,
you commit
man,
an unforgivable
the
sin.
Lord told me to tell you this. I don't want to know. Show me in here. He showed me. He told me to tell you this. I want to lay hands on you. No.
What is it?
To say there are the fallen angels born to mate with women.
No.
It's a lesson on that.
You gotta say it to the camera.
Yeah, we got a lesson on that whole fallen angel thing.
What caused the flood? And
Giants. What caused the flood? And
Yeah, that's the one. Declaring the air from the beginning. What caused the flood? Watch that lesson.
and the one he did.
Giants sleeping with women.
Giants sleeping with women.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on, man. That's
Yeah.
like yeah, but both of them up there though. All right.
You know, it's a time
All right, y'all. Shalom. We about to pray out. No more questions in here? We good? All right, y'all. So we got something else?
you actually say something when you see it.
All right, well, we're going to pray out. That's a nice jacket. That's a whole book. Sweet.
Thank you, back.
All minds clear? Father, Yah, we come before you, Father, standing in one accord, Father, asking that you would open up your ears unto the words of your people, Father. Accept our petition, Father. Hear our prayers. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that you would just people, Father, that you will watch over us, Father. Continue to lead us and guide us, Father. Keep us throughout the day, Father. Continue to fill us up, Father, with your word, Father. Allow us to be used as vessels for your word to flow through, to speak a word of strength and power into the hearts and the minds and the ears of your people, Father, that you will provide them with the increase. Father, we pray and ask also in your special prayer for Sister Terry, Father, that you would continue to watch over her, Father, comfort her, Father, in this her time of need. Your brother Theophilus and his family, Father, that you will watch over them and comfort them also in their time of need. Father, we pray for every soul that's gathered here and the souls that are still listening, Father, that you would just continue to work with us, Father. Lead us and guide us down that straight and narrow path. Be a light unto our steps, Father. And Father, we pray that you would just ultimately just continue to walk with us. Allow your Ruach to strengthen us, Father, on a daily basis. All these things we pray and give thanks. Bashem Yehuwah ben Kaya Hoshua Hamashiach Ruach. That's so be it. Avinu Shabbat Shemaim. Ikadosh. Shem Ka. Tabo. Malkut Ka. Yeah, I say. Ratzon Ka. Ba'aretz. Kashir. Na'asha. Bashemaim. Tain Lanu. Hayom. Likin. Ikanu. Uslak. Lanu. Eight. Ashmatenu. Kashir. Sukin. Anaknu. Lashir. Ashmu. Lanu. Wa'al. Taminu. Lede. Masa. Ki. In. Hasulanu. Min. Hara. Ki. Laka. Amam Laka. Wahagibora. Wa'atifare. Lome. Ulami. So be it.
Elder Martin, we need a song, Elder. All right, hold up.